Morning, everyone. It's Joe Waxman, and I'm back with another video. This morning, I want to do something different. I'm going to look at the synastry of Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, often known as called Kimye, I guess they're saying. It's a funny combination. But yeah, let's look at their synastry. Just share my screen. That's not something that I do a ton of, so I'm not as familiar with synastry as I am with natal chart reading. But let's do it. I've been wanting to do this, so let's get into it. All right, we'll start with his ascendant in Cancer, and the descendant. We'll look at this axis. All right, so there's nothing really negative going on with the ascendant. It's just positive aspects, to Venus, Chiron, to Mercury, descendant in Capricorn. He doesn't have any planets in his seventh house. We'll look at the seventh house lord. It's in Saturn. It's on his second house cusp. So he needs a partner who's going to add value to his life, value and stability and worth and confidence and so forth, things like that. So she has her north node in the second house, basically conjuncting his Saturn. So that's quite good. It does take time, and it's in Leo. It does take time, anything with Saturn, but Saturn can show a lot of commitment. And this would be good if she was a little bit older. Maybe they just met too soon or didn't last long enough. I think if they're both a little bit older, this would have been even better combination. But it is not bad. I'd say she fulfills this requirement of this second house adding value because of her north node in Leo that is conjuncting here. She meets that requirement. For him, we don't see any negative to Saturn. Nodes are sextile Sun and Jupiter, sextile Neptune, or trine Neptune. Sorry about that. That's all fine. Let's look at her ascendant. She has her Neptune in the first house, and his Neptune, which I think is retrograde, is exactly conjunct her ascendant. And we'll see that this is not really a great position because it creates a lot of idealism, fantasy, and delusion. When Neptune is involved in relationships, it's often like, oh my God, like I've met like the most perfect person in the world. And then 2, 3, 4 years down the road, it's that illusion fades. And it's like, oh, I was completely wrong about this person. They're not at all what I thought they were. That's Neptune. And his Neptune on her ascendant, that's creating a lot of delusion, right? But this aspect is excellent, right? And it's huge attraction. On her descendant, he has his sun and his Jupiter. And not only that, his Jupiter is aspecting her ascendant in Sagittarius, the ruler. That's quite good. That's excellent. I mean, we want to see that. When a sun is conjunct somebody's descendant, it's great for both people. She feels like he's the ideal candidate for a partner. And he is very attracted to her and feels, very similar because her ascendant is opposite his sun and Jupiter. Right, and so she's looking for a mercurial Gemini type. So where's her Mercury? It's over here on her 12th house cusp in Scorpio, conjunct Uranus. So she wants somebody who is very, it could be very secretive, but foreign. And he meets that requirement because he's a black man. So to her, he's foreign. And she likes black men. We know that. Ray J, sex tape. Yeah. Enough said. And she wants somebody who's very unique and independent minded and also very deep thinking. And, I'd say Kanye Kanye West fits that because Uranus is here conjunct Mercury, and he's independent minded. I mean, say what you want about Kanye. Maybe you like his music, maybe you don't. It's irrelevant. I mean, he stands up for what he thinks. He goes against the grain, and I salute him for that. I love independence. I'm very Uranian. I have Uranus conjunct the ascendant. I love Uranus. So he's, he fits this requirement. Foreign, secret, scorpionic. He really does delve into the Scorpio conspiracy kind of mindset. Like there are instances of him going off to crowds, where they don't. I just recall. I think there's lots of times, but I recall one where he's like with that mega preacher, super rich guy, Joel. I can't even remember. He's Christian. He's a fake guy, and he's like telling the crowd like, "Oh, you can." Talking about some, because I can't even remember what he was talking about. He's like some conspiracy. He's like, "You can look that up," and the crowd's just completely silent. And he's just standing there like firm in his conviction that he knows what he's talking. That's Scorpio. That's Scorpio and Uranus and Mercury, right? So he definitely, that's a really strong combination here. But this is a killer. This is not, because also for him, Neptune is pretty much opposite his sun and Jupiter. So both of them are full. Both of them are like, when they met, they're like, oh my God, you're the ideal person, because that's Neptune. And then years go by and they're like, you're not at all who I thought you were. I was completely fooled by you. You're just the wrong type of person. So that's the problem with Neptune. It's delusion, it's fantasy. But otherwise, this is a great combination. Let's look at their moons. Both in Pisces. So they're both creative types, and it's comfortable. It's not like, this is not it's comfortable. It's what it is. It's not going to make or break a relationship. I mean, people with same moons are similar. That can be good. That can be bad, because there's less attraction. There's more comfortability. His is in his 9th house. Hers is conjunct her IC. So his moon is falling in her 3rd house, approaching the 4th house. So that's great for communication, feeling comfortable at home, because it's still influencing the IC. And hers is in his 9th house. So she gets his creative mindset. That's very important for him. Like that's part of his philosophy. He's a creative type, and he believes, because 9th house is our faith. It's our belief system. It's a very important house, both personally and in synastry. Because if you're not going to line up with how somebody believes, then really, it can only go so far. For marriage, the 9th house needs to have compatibility. Jupiter, 9th house, things like that. So she gets his need for Piscean creativity, his version of spirituality. That's quite good. Moon is opposite Venus, which is okay. There's some attraction there, but these are both feminine planets. It's like more like a friend aspect, right? It's not great. If this was Mars, that'd be something else, right? Or Jupiter, or even the sun, ascendant, something like that, descendant, whatever. But that's okay. It is what it is. His moon is square the ascendant. Okay. That's difficult. I mean, it was probably easily overlooked when, in the beginning, where this Neptunian fog was in effect, and they were both like starry-eyed, goo goo gaga, like all the idealism and honeymoon phase was taken over, just like crazy about each other, because Neptune can do that. Neptune can make you think like you found like the most perfect person in the whole wide world, like just everything is like completely fantastic about them. Then the rose-colored glasses come off, after a couple of years. Moon square ascendant, moon square Neptune, and to some extent moon square Mars. That's not good. That's creating conflict. That's creating emotional turbulence. They're just not seeing eye to eye. He's not getting his emotional needs met by her. And especially when the rose-colored glasses fade, it's just going to be a cause for arguments and disagreements. And to some extent, she's there, she's relatable, she can understand him, but at the same time, her own inner conflicts are coming out in arguments with him and whatnot. So he's feeling emotionally left out in the cold by her to some extent because of her ascendant. I mean, it's kind of natural because he's square to his own sun and Jupiter. So, but she's not helping. And to some extent, there's this square as well between her moon and his sun. They're both squaring. They both have internal conflicts that are coming out in the relationship here with the squares to the moons. What else? Mercury, moon, sextile, that's good. Good communication. His sun is square her debilitated Venus, and that's got to be a real pain in the butt, because it's also opposite the moon. So she's really, really picky because moon is in Virgo, and that's her femininity. She's a woman, so this is trouble because she's just too damn picky. She's always criticizing him, always going to be on his case about this, that, and the other, nagging him, just like, this is his sun and his Jupiter. This is the main thing. And she's just like, look, Kanye, you got to get your shit together. You got to do this, you got to do that. I don't like this, I don't like that. It's Virgo. I mean, and this Venus in Virgo. It's just not, okay, it's good maybe for her fashion industry if she's the boss and she gets to call all the shots and she's like, no, I don't like this, I don't like that. It's got to be this way, it's got to be that way. It's super picky. I mean, Venus is debilitated in Virgo. It's good for some things, but it's not easy at all. She's a major nag. She's nagging him to death because that's his sun, that's his Jupiter. It's like, leave me alone, woman. I need to create my music. He's the creative type. He's much more creative than she is. She's much more business oriented. Let's see. Her ninth house is in Leo and sun's in the 11th house. So her faith, her belief system, North Node is pretty much conjunct to her ninth house cusp, is much more egotistical and all about her ego and her career success and her groups and her friends and networks. And he's all about creativity, because Jupiter is his ninth house has his moon in Pisces. Ninth house cusp is in Pisces. Jupiter is in his 12th house cusp, along with his sun in Gemini. So he's all about creativity and expression. So yeah, I mean, that's where they differ a lot. IC and MC are conjunct. They're opposite basically. So like his home is her work and his work is her home. So they're opposite. They're at odds. When one wants to go to work, the other one wants to be at home and relax, and vice versa. So they're not really seeing eye to eye about a lot of things. Ascendant on the 8th house cusp, that's probably good for sexuality, but then Saturn's here and then North Node's here. So it's like, there's restriction. Yeah, North Node is good, Saturn's good, but Saturn restricts. And that's why I said if they're older, it'd probably be better because then Saturn would be easier to deal with, but it's restricting 8th house. Saturn in the 8th house is restricting intimacy, sexuality, even though the North Node's there. So it's like a struggle. It's a push-pull kind of thing. What else? Her ascendant is on his 6th house cusp. That's conflict. When the rose-colored glasses fade away, when the Neptunian fog fades, her ascendant is on his 6th house cusp. That's conflict, right? That is conflict. That is arguments. That is not comfortable, right? Yeah. And descendant on the 12th. Well, the sun here is good, but this is like descendant on the 12th house cusp. All right, that doesn't feel right to me. I mean, it's good in a sense because his sun and Jupiter are here. But descendant on the 12th house cusp feels a bit misaligned to me, because 12th house is the house of creativity and loss and spirituality. So I don't know. 8th house also on the ascendant, it's not great either, because that's death and rebirth. It's crisis. It's good for intimacy, but with Saturn here, I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. So I mean, I can see why they came together. Well, they have this Pluto North Node conjunction, which is that's pretty intense. It is generational, so that's going to happen with anyone around her age for him. But the house placement is not great because it's in 10th, 11th house. So it's like, that's not romantic at all. That's like, he's, helping her in her career, probably good for her career. He boosted her career. Kim K became more of a celebrity by marrying Kanye West, because it boosted her career, her Pluto, North Node to Pluto in the 10th, 11th house cusp, career success, right? And we're pretty close to her sun, which is where she wants to shine. Career success, groups, networks, working with other people, like in a career fashion, friends, networks, things like that. It's not fantastic, even though it is, North Node Pluto. We'd think that's pretty good, but it would have to be in a good house to really, be good. And again, it's his 4th house where he wants to be at home and comfortable. Home is where the heart is, and it's for her, it's public. It's a bit, I don't like it. What else? Mars, his Mars and Venus are conjunct. It's not making any good aspect to her Mars. If anything, that's in conjunct. It's a trine, but it's out of orb. It's not really making a good trine to her Venus or Sag, so that's in conjunct. Yeah, neither to her moon, or it's not making any good aspects. What else? Her Jupiter is in his 3rd house. That's okay. It's not really great either. I don't think there's any. Well, Jupiter, no, that's Venus. Jupiter trine Mercury. That's okay, because it's a trine. Jupiter and Mercury are not great together, but it's a trine nonetheless. Mercury sextile the moon. It's fine. So, I mean, we see some other trines here, which are good, but there's not. Again, I think what's really going on is that, the number one, that this is great, pretty much for partnership, but these Neptunian contacts are really what brought them together, and what are inevitably are one of the things that are driving them apart. It's just it's a Neptunian relationship, basically, where they came together with this kind of ideal fantasy that they were like, soulmates or something, and I think they had 4 kids together. And then Neptune wears off, as it inevitably does. It always does. And what they're left with is not a lot. They're comfortable with each other, but there's not tons of attraction. I mean, here there is, somewhat here, here, but it's too much conflict, nagging, picking. And she is actually a lot smarter than he is. I want to show you why. All right, here's Kanye's Mercury. And just understand that the speed often shows how in the speed of the planet shows its power. One of the ways you can look at it, one of the main ways you can look at it is power. His Mercury's fast. It's in Taurus and it's moving fast. So he's not the intellectually, he's not the smartest guy. That doesn't mean he's not intelligent. And just understand the difference here, like intellect versus intelligence. Like he's actually very intelligent, but in a creative way, in a big picture way, in a more of a Jupiterian way. His intellect, like he's not good at math and logic. Let's put it that way. Like the Mercurial, because it's just he's moving too. His Mercury's moving too fast. It's 1 degree and 31 minutes and 39 seconds per day, compared to hers, 10 minutes per day. That's a very slow Mercury, and it's in Scorpio. I mean, his is in Taurus, but she's dominating him. I mean, she's wicked smart. Even though she plays dumb, she's wicked smart. She's smarter than he is. Not more intelligent, but smarter. And so she's nagging him all the time and just being like overpowering with this Mercury, this incredibly, yeah. I mean, this is a good aspect, the Mercury opposite Mercury, because at least it's interesting and they come from different points of view. And he's stubborn, you know. He's got that, he's got Mercury in Taurus and Mars and Venus in Taurus. So he's he's stubborn, all right. That's good. But she's dominating him with her wicked smart, you know, Scorpio, like just psychological, like trying to manipulate the crap out of him, constantly nagging him with her debilitated Venus. And he's much more of an artist than she is, because he's got, you know, this Venus in domicile in Taurus, Pisces moon in the 9th house, 12th house sun. I mean, he's just much more of an artist than she is, and she's just much more business oriented, success oriented. She's more egotistical and he's more an artist. So that's basically it. That's Kimye for you. They're not going to stay together. They came together in fantasy delusion, but you know, some good aspects obviously, but not great. So I'm going to do some more of these. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to do some natal chart readings and some celebrity synastry, because why not? Just make it interesting. Keep it fun and exciting. I'm a Gemini, so I like to keep things alive, keep things new and novel. So if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. If you have any celebrity suggestions for me, either individual or synastry, you can write that in the comments. If you want to book a reading, don't go to my website, macroastrology.com. And that's it for now, guys. Thanks. I'll see you again soon. Bye.